We are live.
Okay, well, the hour of 5:30 having arrived, I will call this meeting of the Monday, April 10th Finance and Personnel Committee meeting to order. Let's start with a roll call, please.
Okay, Alder Tad,
I'm here.
Alder West,
Here.
Alder Pete,
Present.
Alder Horton,
Here.
Alder Tate the second.
Present.
That completes roll call.
All right. Then that brings us to our first item, which is the approval of minutes for the March 13th, 2023 meeting. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Okay, moved by Alder Tate the second, seconded by Alder Horton. I'll give Alder Horton that one. Any further discussion on that item? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next item, please, Director Fisher.
Item number 0242-23, communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the Wastewater Commission submitting developers agreement for the Leo Living Multi-Residential Development, Leo at Mount Pleasant LLC as developer. Staff recommendation that the Wastewater Commission be allowed consideration and approval of the developers agreement for the Leo Living Multi-Residential Development. Fiscal note, all costs associated with design and construction of the water main and service will be paid by the developer. Per the agreement, the water main will be dedicated to the utility for future maintenance as contribution in aid of construction, kayak. In addition, as the property abuts County Highway C, which is designated as a regional water main artery, the developer will pay for a 12-inch diameter local distribution main segment for that water main. Per the retail water agreement, the utility will pay oversizing costs estimated at $30,000 for the regional main. Per the wholesale water agreement, the Village of Caledonia will be assessed by the utility to pay a direct payment capital charge portion of that oversizing cost. Director Gitter is here to speak on the item.
Please proceed, sir.
Thank you. Just a small correction. This is not actually the wastewater commission. This is the waterworks commission. And this will be a waterworks project. Actually, the first four items are all waterworks. So this item is a developer's agreement, which is common practice, is authorized by the retail water agreement between the city and the village of Mount Pleasant. And the Leo Living project is a multi-residential development, 374 units, mainly side-by-side townhouses, and that is intended to be built around Highway C, Highway B area. So what this developer's agreement does is the developer would pay for the costs. They have the water main infrastructure designed and constructed. They would pay all costs associated with that. At the conclusion of the main, the utility would test it and get the final drawings. And when everything checks out, the water main would be dedicated to the utility as an asset for future buildings.
Thank you, sir. Does anybody have questions for Director Gitter? Okay, seeing none, a motion.
Share the specific breakdown of the costs that Director Fisher mentioned. What the Caledonia portion will be better on that. Water Works Commission, you got some more specific breakdowns.
Yeah, so the portion that's running the 12-inch water main that is actually feeding this property, all paid by the developer. That's going to be in the neighborhood of 100,000, maybe 200,000. There is a little twist to this, that on the Highway C side to the north, there's a very small section of main, which is going to be a regional main. And by ordinance of Mount Pleasant, they would have that small section of main put in. The developer would pay the cost for the local main, which is the 12-inch size. And then the utility would pay for an oversizing to a 16-inch for regional. And the utility would have a cost of about $30,000. But actually, as part of that, Caledonia and their wholesale water agreement will pick up about 34% of that 30,000. So roughly a 20-10 split.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions for Director Gitter? Seeing none, a motion would be in order at this time. Okay, moved by Alder Tate the second, seconded by Alder Pete. Mike?
Can you just make the correction that it's a water work line issue?
Yes, for all of these items.
I will read them that way.
Yes.
from now.
Yes, I'm sorry, we did this verbally, not, so I didn't catch that, so thank you. Okay, so motion would be as amended to reflect that this is a water commission item. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please, Director Gator.
Item number 0225-23, communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the Water Commission, submitting a resolution regarding declaration of official intent to reimburse costs attributed to the 2024 lead service line replacement project. Staff recommendation that the Water Commission be allowed consideration and approval to submit the resolution regarding declaration of intent to reimburse costs attributed to the 2024 lead service line replacement project. This will note the aggregate principal of debt for the project is expected not to exceed $3 million, of which 49% may be allocated as principal forgiveness for homeowner private lead service replacement. Funding for the project to be financed through the fiscal year 2024 WDNR Safe Drinking Water Loan Program at an anticipated rate of 0.25%. Director Gator.
As for this item and the next two following, they're all resolutions, basically the same type of thing. We're taking out three or applying for three safe drinking water loans. These are for projects for 2024. And the loans for 2024 are due to the DNR by the end of June. So as part of our loan package, we need the plans and specifications in with our loan. So we have to have engineering done up front, which means we have to spend money. So what the resolution does is those costs that we incur prior to getting the funds from loan, we can reimburse ourselves as they're rolled into the loan. So once we get the loan, we can get the money back as part of the pay to get the project forwarded and applied. So basically, that's what the resolution does, is any costs that we incur prior to the loan, we will get reimbursed as part of the.
Just to clarify, I think this one we talked about in the water meeting that this will be commercial and residential. Yeah, so.
Yes, so this is our lead service line replacement for 2024. And the DNR did make that change. In the past, the private side was on its own, private grant funding. They did make a change. So starting next year, both the public and private side will all be in the same loan.
Any other, Mayor?
So I'm just noting on item 225-23, it says the anticipated rate is 0.25%, and then in the next two items, it's 2.5%. Is it really that much lower for the lateral?
Yeah.
They're really encouraging this work. It's
Yeah.
something we want to really do.
Can we borrow them?
Right, just other things.
Right? No, that's great. Yeah, we talked about that in water too. It's really excellent. Alder P.
Yes, thank you. For all of these items, what is the actual cost? Are we actually borrowing the $3+ million, or is that, because it says forgiveness and it says loan?
Yeah, so the money that we put in, the $3 million is a projection. It's a cap, really. We won't know exactly how much we get. So once we build something, then we have an approved loan, then we send a reimbursement in. And we only get paid back for what we incur in costs. So we get money for a loan whenever we put an application in DNR that we spent this amount of money. So we don't get all this money up front. We only get what we need.
So actually, it'll be a zero cost once you get the money back. You borrow the money until you get the funds.
Yeah, there'll be a cost. As the mayor said, we pay 0.25% on the money that we do borrow.
Mhm.
So we will have a cost and we will have to pay that back.
What is the cost over 20 years? Right.
Depends how much money we actually borrow, but if it's a couple $1 million over 0.25%. It's almost pretty much.
Less than the rate of inflation.
Right. Great. Any further questions for Director Gator on this item? Seeing none, a motion would be in order.
Second.
Moved by Alder Pick, the second
The obvious.
amendment. Yeah, to water.
Waterworks Commission.
Okay, moved by Alder Sheet the second, seconded by Alder West. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please, Director Fisher.
Item number 0226-23, communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the Water Commission, submitting resolution regarding declaration of official intent to reimburse costs attributed to the 2024 water main replacement project. Staff recommendation that the Water Commission be allowed consideration and approval to submit the resolution regarding declaration of official intent to reimburse costs attributed to the 2024 water main replacement project. Fiscal note, the aggregate principal amount of debt for the project is expected not to exceed 9 million. Funding for the project is to be financed through the fiscal year 2024 WDNR Safe Drinking Water Loan Program at an anticipated rate of 2.5%, with the balance reduced by eligible principal forgiveness fund. Director.
Yep.
So again, this is another loan application to the DNR, and we're again requesting a resolution. This is for our 2024 water main replacement. So every year, we have a lot of infrastructure in the ground. It's very old. So we're constantly, every year, replacing old infrastructure, old water main. So our work that we're going to be doing in 2024, we're taking out a loan, and the resolution will help reimburse the costs that we incur for engineering prior to getting us money that we will be spending it on before we get the loan.
Alrighty.
Yes, thanks again. I have to go back to part of my original question. The last part here where it says principal forgiveness earned. Could you elaborate on that?
If we get principal forgiveness, that's essentially grant money. It's free money. We don't have to repay that.
Any other questions? Seeing none, a motion would be in order.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, moved by Alder Pete, seconded by Alder Horton. Any further discussion of this item? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please, Director Fisher.
Item number 0244-23, communication sponsored by Elder Taft on behalf of the Water Commission, submitting resolution regarding declaration of official intent to reimburse costs attributed to the filtration system rehabilitation project. Staff recommendation that the Water Commission be allowed to consideration and approval to submit the resolution regarding declaration of official intent to reimburse costs attributed to the filtration system rehabilitation project. Fiscal note, the aggregate principal amount of debt for the project is expected not to exceed 19 million. Funding for the project to be financed through the fiscal year 2024 WDNR Safe Drinking Water Loan Program at an anticipated rate of 2.5%, with the balance reduced by eligible principal forgiveness earned.
Mr. Gaynor.
Okay, and this resolution, this is for our plant. We have a gravity filtration system. Really, it's an initial, it's still original equipment. The oldest piece of it going back to 1927. We've done a nice job maintaining it, keeping it running. It's now very much in time for it. So this cost,
Couldn't make it 100 years.
we'd like to, but we're actually doing these loans, so it's opportunistic, because there's a lot of federal money up there. When you get principal forgiveness, it's the time to do this project. So this resolution, again, we have a lot of engineering up front, and we want to reimburse ourselves for the costs that we incur prior to getting the loan.
Great. Any questions, Mr. or Director Gaynor on this? Seeing none, a motion would be in order.
Second.
Okay, moved by Alder King, seconded by Alder Pete. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Director Gitter. Next item, please, Director Fisher.
Item number 0300-23, communication sponsored by Elder Taft on behalf of the Human Resources Benefits Manager requesting to add Advest as a 529 savings plan provider. Staff recommendation to approve Advest as a 529 savings plan provider for the City of Racine employees. Benefit Manager Lean is here to speak on the item.
Hi, good evening. My name is Amelia. I'm the benefits manager here for the city. I also have Khalil Ali here. He is a consultant with the 529 College Savings Program through Advest. So together we're here asking for approval of Advest as a 529 savings plan provider for City of Racine employees. Advest at Work is a free voluntary benefit where employees are able to open a 529 plan, which essentially is a plan that employees can contribute to in order to save for higher education expenses. So that's tuition, books, fees, all the way to room and board, internet access, and computers. So really anything in that wheelhouse. Individuals can also use this money up to $10,000 annually for K through 12 tuition expenses and apprenticeship. Employees can also use $10,000 for their own student loans that they can save for. So the money that is put into this account is invested and includes 100% tax-free earnings for qualified withdrawals. And these accounts can be used for children, grandchildren, family members, and friends. And the employee obviously can also benefit from this account. And anyone can essentially contribute to it. There's gift contributions that family members and friends can make. So approving EdFest as a 529 savings plan provider for City of Racine employees would have no fiscal impact on the city. This would just be between EdFest and the employee. And with that being said, I can, me and Khalil can help answer any questions that the committee may have on EdFest or the 529 plans.
Mr. Mayor?
So if we have existing 529s, can this action allow us to contribute directly into it from there, or we have to start over with a new 529?
No, so your existing account, you'd be able to make payroll contributions into that account, so you wouldn't need to create a new one.
Any other questions?
Just
Yeah.
to reiterate, how much does this cost the city?
Nothing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, this is a great, that's a great benefit for our employees. That's wonderful. Okay, any further questions? Alder Peak?
Just quick, it's not really that important, but it can they be deducted from the taxes?
Excellent question. Yes, so for tax year 2023, you can deduct up to $3,860 per beneficiary from your Wisconsin state taxes.
Right.
And that gets adjusted every year. So
It continues to go up. I believe that the state is going to cap it at $5,000, but they've been making incremental increases annually on it.
Great. Okay, motion would be in order at this time.
Second.
Moved by Alder West, seconded by Alder Horton. Any further discussion on the item? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please, Director Fisher. Thank you.
Item 0301-23, communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the Human Resources Benefits Manager, requesting to add United Healthcare as a pet insurance provider. Staff recommendation to approve United Healthcare as a pet insurance provider for City of Racine employees. Fiscal note at this time is NA. Benefit Manager Lean is here to speak on it.
Yes, good afternoon again. So with this item, I'm asking for approval of United Healthcare as a pet insurance provider for City of Racine employees. United Healthcare partners with a company called FIGO to administer their pet insurance program. With this pet insurance, individuals work with FIGO directly on the policy that they would like to put together and enroll in. So they set deductibles and co-insurance essentially, and then they pay the appropriate premium that's appropriate for the policy. So employees will pay FIGO directly for the policy that they would like to enroll in. And if an employee enrolls in this pet insurance policy through FIGO, they would also have access to a lot of wonderful resources such as virtual vet, a welcome kit that includes a pet bowl and a pet tag that connects to their pet's profile through FIGO. And there's also a community resources center that's online, like an online pet community where pet parents can connect and they can also find pet-friendly resources within the area that they reside in, which I thought was super neat. They would also be provided with a pet health discount card, which would help them with discounts on prescriptions for their pets. So approving this through United Healthcare would have no fiscal impact on the city because the employee would pay for the policy directly through United Healthcare. So yeah, and with that, I can answer any questions that the committee may have on this item.
Alder Peak?
Yes, you sort of covered it, but is there any administrative cost to the city?
Zero, no administrative costs.
Any other questions? A motion would be in order at this time.
Move to approve?
Second.
Okay, moved by Alder Peak, seconded by Alder Jake second. Let's see, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Great, thank you so much. All right, next item, please, Director Fisher.
Item number 0328-23, communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the Transit and Mobility Director, requesting permission to enter into a professional services agreement with McKinstry Ascension LLC for development and execution of its sustainability as a service program. Staff recommendation that the mayor and city clerk be granted permission to enter into a professional services agreement with McKinstry Ascension LLC for development and execution of its sustainability as service program. Fiscal note, cost not to exceed $96,000, funding available in city's ARPA allocation. Director Young is here to speak on the item.
Please proceed, sir.
Yes, thank you, Director Fisher. Thank you, committee members. Thank you, Madam Chair. And before I address the item, I just want to thank Director Taft, Alder Taft, and Alder Tate for your service on the council. So this item here is really an execution of the commitment that the city of Racine Common Council has already made through the Paris Climate Accord and looking to reduce the city of Racine's carbon footprint. Not only that commitment, but also a commitment to taxpayers to make sure that we're running the city as effectively as possible with savings around energy in connection with environmental stewardship. So what we hope to do is to engage with McKinstry, a firm that we've already done a series of projects work with that is familiar with the work that we're doing in the city of Racine around energy savings, or alternative forms of energy, and interdepartmental cooperation on how we can best provide services based on energy consumption. So McKinstry has offered a proposal to the city of Racine to provide sustainability as a service, which is in essence just expanding the partnership that we already have with this firm to include developing a sustainability plan and a greenhouse gas inventory, a preliminary assessment for the electrification of greening the city of Racine's fleet across all departments, a sustainability baseline and tracking and reporting system to make sure that there's a public-facing data set for residents to understand exactly what savings are occurring based on the work that we're doing around green energy. And then what I think is critically important, which is federal and state funding assistance to make sure that we're leveraging this massive and historic amount of federal investment that's coming to municipalities across the United States, and that we don't miss a really critical timeline that exists in the next couple of years to bring as much federal dollars to the city of Racine as possible. And then finally, energy savings and sustainability implementation, which would be included in the service. So this expanded partnership would really be able to create a long-term sustainability plan that we can incorporate in all of the grant work that we're doing with the Department of Energy and the Department of Transportation federally. So the projects that we've already worked with McKinstry on that would make them an effective partner in this is the facility conditions assessment, phase 1 and phase 2 that they've performed, the feasibility analysis for solar at our transit garage that they've already executed and successfully. We were awarded a congressional directed spending because of the work they've done around that. We're working on an investment grade audit to secure those funds for solar at the transit garage because of the work with McKinstry. And of course, the citywide sustainability decarbonization project that we'll be seeing underway shortly. So because of that, they're well suited to engage in this type of work to expand this partnership, and it will result in long-term savings and environmental stewardship.
Any questions for Director Young? Alderby?
Yes, thank you. Did you also say that they would look at sustainability for other vehicles throughout the city's fleet or just with transit?
That's correct. So the city of Racine has electrified or secured funding for the electrification of 40% of the transit fleet for the city, but not for other departments. So what we want to do is, if the department wishes to engage in this work, provide that data, which would make them competitive to receive federal dollars for greening those vehicles as well. So whether it's DPW or other departments.
Awesome.
Yeah. Any other questions for Director Young?
Just to that point, the fact that there are electric pickups coming online makes our fleet much more eligible for electrification in a way that we maybe didn't 4 or 5 years ago.
Also, there's probably smaller vehicles, Mr. Mulder, right? Director Mulder, some of that, you know, I mean, I think.
Golf carts?
Oh, yeah, golf carts, somebody that's good stuff. It's very exciting. So any further questions? A motion would be in order at this time.
Second.
Okay, moved by Alder West, seconded by Alder Pete. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Director Gallo, for that. All right. Next item,
Item
please.
number 0341-23, communication sponsored by Alder Lynn on behalf of the PRCS Director requesting permission for the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Services Department to apply for a grant from the United States Forest Service Inflation Reduction Act for up to $2.1 million for supporting the PRCS Forestry Division. Projects will include updating our tree inventory, removing and replacing ash trees, increasing tree planting on public property, providing trees to be planted on private property, removing hazardous trees in public forests, improving and increasing capacity of our gravel bed and our ability to plant more trees. Grant control number 00507, staff recommendation, staff recommends the Finance Personnel Committee grant permission for Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Services to apply for said grant. Fiscal note to be determined. Match waivers will be available for proposals that deliver 100% of the funding program benefits to disadvantaged communities. Specific details have not been released yet. It's likely there will be no match required. If match is required, it will be funded via in-kind work. The forestry program's annual budget exceeds $1 million per year, which would provide a significant in-kind match if necessary. Director Molbeck is here to speak on the item.
I'm not sure I have to say anything.
That is a whole lot of stuff in an item.
So this is a great opportunity not only for our department, our forestry division, but the city of Racine. The application process starts early April and closes the end of May, with awards being given out this summer. So we'll know pretty quick if this will happen. What we do know is it is a 5-year grant term. So it can be used over a 5-year period. And with all the different things that Kathleen mentioned that we're looking to have things funded for, most of that's going to have to probably be contracted out for services to be done, whether that's planting, whether that's delivering, whether that's removing the stumps and that kind of thing. Matt couldn't be here tonight. I would have loved him to be here because there may be some questions that we may have that I may not be able to answer because of their specific questions. But I can get that back to him and get that to you if there is any. But again, we're just looking for approval to apply. But I entertain any questions that you may have.
Yes, will we foresee perhaps using these funds? Because I get a lot of calls from constituents about trees within the neighbors' yards that are either leaning over or dead or, a hazard in some way or another, but it's on the property.
Yep.
Would we potentially need to use those funds to assist in doing some of that work? Because I know most of our focus is on trees in the public right of way, but obviously we're talking about removing hazardous trees, and that might include some of the private property ones. If we're requesting the permission to do so, do we foresee how to use these funds and provide that particular type of service?
Yeah, good question. So I'm kind of start here and then get to that question. So we have a gravel bed that's kind of in we call Bull West Park by Pope High School. And with this grant, we are hoping to double the size so that we can take in more trees. And the goal would be is to work with contractual services to go into private areas to remove disease hazardous trees, to remove those and then give the opportunity for people to select trees that can be planted in place of that, or just planted period to enlarge our tree canopy for the city of Racine.
So that would include such as like backyard tree planting.
Absolutely.
No, that's great. I know, definitely noticed that line, providing trees to be planted on private property. I think you're gonna get a lot of interest in that based on mine and the calls that I've gotten.
So no, before I didn't have those two ash trees.
Right. Great. Any questions for Director Molbeck about this?
This might be a math question, but do we still have a lot of ash out there that needs to be removed?
There are, yes, we are still treating them. They get treated every other year, every third year, but the goal is to keep them alive enough to where we can get to them. So we're constantly taking ash trees down, but also planting new ones in its place, depending on where that's where they're at actually.
No, not that. neutral.
just
Not-
neutrals.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. All right, any other questions for Director Walbeck? All right, motion would be in order at this time. A move by Alder West, seconded by Alder Tate second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Director Walbeck. Very exciting stuff here. Okay, and then we have another item for you, I believe. Director Fisher, please.
Item number 0332-23, communication sponsored by Alder Horton on behalf of Parks Recreation Cultural Services Director requesting a $200 sign-on bonus for all 2023 lifeguards and lifeguard supervisors on their first check. Then, if continued employment through August 20th of 2023, an additional retention bonus of $200 upon completion of the season. Staff recommendation to approve a $200 sign-on bonus for all 2023 lifeguards and lifeguard supervisors on their first check. Then, if continued employment through August 20, 2023, an additional retention bonus of $200 upon completion of the season. Fiscal note, approximately 20 lifeguard workers costing roughly $8,000 funded by recreation part-time salaries. Director Molda.
So yes, over the last couple of years, we have been the highest hourly rated dollar amount for lifeguards in Racine County. Unfortunately, this year, that's not the case anymore. Not by much, but we are a little bit lower than the county. And what we'd like to do, because we want to keep up our numbers and to give you some statistics, take 16 lifeguards to just do North Beach and 20 if you want to add Zoo Beach for Saturday and Sunday. Numbers are a little bit low, but we were like that last year and we came out pretty strong here to do everything we wanted to do. But we felt that by adding this opportunity of a $200 bonus to everyone that applies and is hired, and then another one if they go through the whole entire season, which is towards the end of August, depending on the season. So we're looking for approval to add this to our lifeguards.
Okay. Any questions for Director Morgan on this item? I'll read it.
So are there existing funds within the part-time salary account to account for this? Or is there going to be required an allocation from elsewhere to support this?
Right now, we're not anticipating asking for additional dollars. We think that we may be able to put it right within that budget.
So I guess my follow-up question, if that's the case, that the funds are there, is there a particular way we put that kind of funds up the base salary to kind of match it, to see the existing competitive areas?
You mean the hourly rate? Well, we went this way because it was something that happened real quick. And I know that right now the part-time schedule that has been approved by council during the budget process, if we were to juggle that, then there's going to be a whole bunch of other juggling going on with other positions within our department and other departments.
Okay, any other questions? Any motion would be in order at this time.
We'll to approve.
All right, moved by Alder Horton, seconded by Alder Tate the second. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir. All right, gotta keep people safe at the beach. Next item, please.
Item number 0323-23, communication sponsored by Mayor Mason and Alder Taft on behalf of the Finance Director to amend the city budget to transfer $125,000 from the wage provision category in the general fund to the library to fund wage increases for library employees. Staff recommendation that the budget be amended and the Finance Director be authorized to transfer $125,000 from the wage provision category in the general fund to the library to fund wage increases for library employees. Fiscal note, the $125,000 will be moved from account 11201-50900 wage provision to account 11202-59200 transfer to special revenue. The transfer will be made by the Finance Director upon final authorization of the budget amendment by the library board. This one is my item that I will talk about just briefly.
Sure.
We've had some history on this item in the last couple of months. This budget amendment is required under our budget authority for the city of Racine. If you all will recall, there was $125,000 set aside within the 2023 budget by the Common Council that was set aside in the general fund. This budget amendment is authorizing that those funds actually be moved out of wage provision and into a transfer category. Because that's two different categories in the general fund, we require a budget amendment by our budget authorization policy. So that's what this is doing, is moving it into that transfer category. And then at the point in time where it is certified that the library board has made their budget amendment, it's my understanding that their finance committee met today at 10, but I will certainly follow up with the library to make sure that that happens. Those funds would be transferred into the library for them to be used in those wage categories within the library.
And just to be clear, the library board already did approve, conceptually that the funds to be used as council intended.
That is correct.
That's, yeah, great. So this is sort of just the bookkeeping. piece
Exactly.
of
This is really the accounting and bookkeeping side of it.
Right. Any other questions for Director Fisher on this item? Seeing none, a motion would be in order. Okay, moved by Alder Tate second, seconded by Alder West. Any further discussions on this item? Yes.
Yes, I
Alder.
have a quick question for Director Fisher. I understand the transfer side, going back to the original part when it was put in the budget by council. Are the funds limited to as to what they can be used for? Or if someone asks the question, could the money be used for a different purpose? Or is it being taken away from them?
So when the dollars were budgeted within the general fund budget, they were budgeted for wages, wage provision. That was the line item that they were put under. It was up to the library board to decide what those wages looked like. So if you recall, several months ago, we had a resolution on the agenda. We talked about it at length. The library board has since taken action to institute wages similar to how the city of Racine has done their wages, including 3% residentially differential. Because of that authorization by the library board, this is authorizing our transfer. The library, the last piece is the library has to do a budget amendment on their side to accept the funds and to put them into the wage category. And then we would do the administrative to retroactively pay the employees.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
So
sure.
still retroactive payments would go in effect as of January 1.
That is my understanding.
Okay.
Great. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please, Director Fisher.
Item number 0297-23, communications funds by Alder Taft on behalf of the city attorney's office submitting the claim of April Purier for consideration for disallowance. Staff recommendation that the claim be disallowed.
Attorney Rubin, please proceed.
Thank you. April Puryear filed a claim with the city requesting an unspecified amount of damages to a fence that allegedly were caused by Department of Public Works solid waste collection vehicle during some unspecified dates, possibly in September and October of 2022. As you can see, there were a lot of vagaries in this claim, some of which are statutory defects that would actually make a claim not viable. But the biggest issue with her claim really was that there were no witnesses, proof, or evidence that the city caused the alleged damage, that it was in fact the DPW truck that caused the damage she alleged to her fence. So we recommend that this claim be disallowed.
Any questions for Attorney Rubin? Okay, a motion would be in order at this time.
Move to approve.
Just allow it.
Move to approve to disallow.
Yeah, okay, moved by Alder P, seconded by Alder West. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item number 029-8-23, communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the city attorney's office submitting the claim of Riverwood Condominium Homes Association for consideration for disallowance. Staff recommendation that the claim be disallowed.
So the Riverwoods Condominium Homes Association filed a claim with the city requesting $152.25 in damages for expenses charged by the condo association's management company, which I guess charged this fee to respond to a condominium unit located at 3001 Old Mill Drive in Racine during an alleged water main break. The city was unaware of any defects or issues with the water main in question prior to this. Therefore, by law, the city and the water utility are not legally liable for the alleged damages. So we recommend disallowance of this claim.
Okay. Any further questions or any questions for Attorney Rubik? Seeing none. Oh, Alder.
Was there actually a water main break?
There was, but the report of a basement flooding was actually at 3011 Old Mill Drive, and this claimant states that the address was 3001 Old Mill Drive. So it's happened where one or more basements was flooded.
Any other questions? Seeing none, a motion would be in order at this time.
Second.
Moved by Alder West, seconded by Alder Horton. Any further discussion on the item? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Attorney Rubin. Yes.
One more.
Yes. Oh, yeah, we have the next one. Yep.
Item number 0339-23, communication sponsored by Mayor Mason and Alder Taft on behalf of the city administrator, submitting the Fire Staff Officers Association 2021 through 2024 collective bargaining agreement for consideration. Staff recommendation that the negotiated collective bargaining agreement with the Fire Staff Officers Association for 2021 through 2024 be approved. Fiscal note. Each year, the association wages will be adjusted to maintain a 15% base pay differential for Racine Fire Department, Staff Officers Association, Battalion Chief and Division Chief positions, all above the International Association of Firefighters Local 321, highest paid paramedic captain base pay at 5.85 through 11 year. The settlement also includes a $2,000 retention bonus for active members and a sick leave payout buyout option. The cumulative cost of the contractual increases over the 4-year period amount to approximately $220,000 in wages and benefits over the life of the contract.
Thank you.
So we've reached a tentative agreement with the Fire Staff Officers Association, subject of course to your recommendation for approval and common council's approval. The terms of this agreement, Kathleen covered well in her overview. To get a little more into the weeds with this, both the deputy chiefs and the battalion chiefs will be getting 15% pay differential, essentially over the highest paid, highest paid on the salary schedule. Local 321 member, which is paramedic captain, who's been with the 11-year level. And then we have reached an agreement on the sick leave payout. They actually opted for a payout that's more akin to the one that was in the Racine Police Association's agreement, where it's just a one-time buyout of hours over certain thresholds, and those thresholds are adjusted depending on if they're a 56-hour employee or a 40-hour employee. And should a member of the local 321 get promoted during between now and January 1st, 2028, they'll actually be able to still take advantage of the agreement that was reached under the locals contract. So that they wouldn't be losing out. We didn't want to disincentivize someone from advancing, just because of the sick leave payout. So they would still be eligible for the agreement under the locals contract, which is more of a phase out that phases out, so it's sort of like the general non-rep employees. Every year, it's going to phase out a little bit more until it's completely phased out in January 1st, 2028. There is a retention bonus of $2,000 per member. The residency incentive applies to all members who are city residents, a 3% increase in wages. Their health insurance premium contribution will be reduced from 10% to 7.5%, which is on par with the rest of the city employees and police and now fire. We did agree to remove the health insurance language from the contracts pursuant to the WERC declaratory ruling. That ruling is under appeal, so if the court should overturn it or modify the ruling, we've agreed to meet with them right away and confer regarding the ruling. Just like the local, they've been given Martin Luther King Day as an additional 8-hour paid holiday. And much like the local, they get an additional vacation day through this contract. And then other benefits that general municipal employees have been enjoying for the last year or so. They'll also be eligible for paid parental leave and student loan debt repayment assistance and home buyers down payment assistance should they decide to buy a home in Racine. So I am happy to answer any questions you have. The chief is here. Reed is here.
Okay. Any questions about this? All right, are any of these folks eligible for the 3% city residential?
I'd have to go back and look at the others.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Okay, and there any additional questions? A motion then would be in order.
Move to approve.
Moved by Alder Pete, seconded by Alder Tate, the second. Any discussion on the item? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, and so our last item is in fact to go into closed session. So Director Fisher, if you wouldn't mind.
Absolutely. It is intended that the Finance and Personnel Committee will convene a closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute, section 1985, pair 1E, to address matters that for competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, specifically regarding the redevelopment of Regency Mall. You'll need a motion to go into closed session as well.
Okay.
The item 0322-23, communication sponsored by Mayor Mason, seeking approval to enter into an incentive agreement and all associated documents with Racine Mall LLC for the redevelopment of Regency Mall. Staff recommendation is listed there that the mayor and city clerk be granted permission to enter into a development incentive agreement with Racine Mall LLC. Fiscal note is listed there as well. Incentive agreement includes a tax incremental development funded pay-go incentive where 90% of the tax increment generated by the district not to exceed 39.4 million over the life of the district will be paid to developer.
We mentioned in the closed session.
Second.
Moved to enter in closed session by Alder Tate the second, seconded, I believe, by Alder Horton. Okay, and do we have any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, let's do a roll call vote, please, to go into closed session.
Alder Taft,
Yes.
Alder West,
Yes.
Alder Pete,
Yes.
Alder Horton,
Yes.
Alder Tate the second.
Aye.
That completes roll call to go into closed session. Okay.
Are you just giving me a moment?
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.